Okay, today we're going to be talking about average rate of change. So basically we're going to have some kind of line, and we want to figure out the average rate of change between 2 points on that line, or over a certain interval. And this is basically just a way of finding the slope of basically between those 2 points. Average rate of change is just another way of saying slope generally. But what you'll see here is we have exponential equations. If you remember, exponential equations don't have a slope, right? They're curved lines. They look something like this. So they're going to curve, so they don't actually have that slope. But what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be given like an interval notation. So something on the x-axis. So let's say this is the y-axis here. And it'll say something like, oh, go between -2 and 3. And it'll want you to find the average rate of change. So at that point, it just wants you to find the slope of this line right there. Okay? The slope of between those 2 points. That's the average rate of change between the -2 and 3 or whatever on the x-coordinate. That's basically the idea of what we're doing today, is we're trying to find the slope between those 2 points, given a certain interval notation. So if we look at number 1 here, we see that we have 1 over 4 times 4 to the x power, and then we're given the interval notation. So remember, on the number line, it would be between these 2 points, but since this is two-dimensional, it's basically the x-axis. This is what's happening on the x-axis. So these are actually the 2 x-coordinates it wants me to figure out. And basically what it wants me to do is I'm going to make a table here, and I'm going to use these 2 x-coordinates to figure out the corresponding y-coordinates. If I can do that, that'll give me the 2 points, like I did up here, the 2 points on the line that it wants me to find the slope between. Okay? So 0, 3. So all I got to do here is plug in 0 in for x and then solve it, and that'll give me my y-coordinate. So if I write that in, so 1 over 4 times 4 to the 0 power, okay, it's going to equal my y. So 4 to the 0 power is going to be 1. So that's 1 over 4 times 1. 1 over 4 times 1 is going to be 1 over 4, or 0.25. Okay, so 0.25 there. Okay, then I do the same thing for the other x-coordinate, 3. So I have 1 over 4 times 4 to the 3rd power. Okay, 4 to the 3rd power is going to be 64. So I have 1 over 4 times 64. So I take 64 and times it by 1 over 4, or 0.25. That's basically saying I'm going to divide it by 4 one time. And what I'm going to get is 16. Okay? So then I want to find the average rate of change, I find the change in y and put it over the change in x. So from 0.25 to 16, I added 15.75. So I added 15.75, or 15 3/4, however you want to think of it. Okay, and then from 0 to 3, I added 3. So I could write that as 15 over 0.75 all over 3. Okay? And that would be your average rate of change. And let's look at another example. Let's do number 4 here. So my interval that it wants me to find the rate of change between is -2 and 3. So again, first thing we're going to do is set up my table. -2 and 3 are my x-coordinates, so -2, 3. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug them in for x into these equations to get my corresponding y values. So let's do -2 first. So I have 3 to the -2 plus 1, which is, after I combine -2 and 1, is going to be 3 to the -1 power, which is 1 over 3, or 0.3 repeating. Okay, so I'll just do 0.3 repeating. And then let's plug in 3. So I have 3 to the 3 plus 1 power, which is 3 to the 4th, which 3 to the 4th is going to be, 3 to the 4th is 81. Okay, so 81 there. So again, when I find the change in y, I put it over the change in x. Change in y, I added 80.6 repeating. And then in x, I added 5. So the average rate of change would be 80.6 repeating all over 5. And that's all I'm doing here.